The Boy Scout motto, be prepared.
We were called in last night at about 5:40 to look for 3 lost Boy Scouts.
Lost in the woods, but that motto, a reminder all hope not lost.
My son knows what to do. I never doubted for a minute. He knows what to do.
Still, the Brevard Rescue Squad, along with anxious parents and troop leaders, spent a long night here at the Pisgah National Forest, hoping in the morning light the boys would be found.
Well, I didn't sleep a whole lot last night. I prayed a little bit and slept a little bit and prayed a little bit and slept a little bit.
They didn't have long to wait. Just before 10, the call comes in. All 3 scouts spotted by the helicopter. Minutes later, a reunion hours in the making.
You knucklehead. It's good to see you, man. How are you?
Good.
Well, I'm glad you're good.
It was scary. I got pretty scared that I would never get to go home.
The boys pitched a tent once it got dark.
We tried to make a fire with a battery and some wires, but it was too damp, and so we didn't have dinner.
Despite going to bed hungry, it's clear being a Boy Scout comes in handy.
If we were unexperienced, we would have been majorly messed up. We would have probably done nothing.
Seeing that helicopter overhead, relief.
I was just happy because I had been praying to be found.
As for these 3 scouts, it's an experience they'll never forget.
Well, we survived in the woods together, so that's almost topping everything.
In Transylvania County, Katie Killen, News 13.
1.
Kind of blindsided me.
2.
Left me with nothing, and
3.
It could just happen to anybody.
Too many struggles to count.
And there's so many of us.
I lost my job.
4.
Ever since it's been downhill.
5.
Like all the doors in front of me just slammed shut.
Tallying a crisis by the numbers.
We are counting everyone who's experiencing homelessness or at risk of homelessness.
Last year, 500 on Asheville streets, depressing digits.
And this is sort of our one-time snapshot
of a bleak situation.
The common thread for everybody is the lack of a support system. For example, if I became homeless, I have family that I could go stay with.
Some numbers mind-boggling.
And how old are you?
19.
How did it get to that point that you're homeless?
A family minus 1.
Me and my mom don't always get along when we're staying together. So, we got an argument and she kicked me out.
Factor in joblessness.
A lot of people are out there, they're trying to do the right thing. They're trying to get employment.
Some point to stats.
A lot of them are serious alcoholics. And some of them are drug addicts.
Some point to themselves.
A lot of it's got to do with me.
To me,
the answers we didn't count on.
I feel more free and open and to be myself when I'm in a tent than when I'm in some kind of building.
Being free.
It's just not a fun game.
Has a price.
I'd rather have a home to go to instead of being out on the street.
You ain't got nowhere to go.
So much lost hope.
There ain't a whole lot of hope out here.
We eventually lost count.
Hope is kind of something you put on the back burner.
In Asheville,
I don't want to be out here any longer.
John Lee, News 13.
If you work hard, sometimes just an ordinary Tuesday can turn into a day that hundreds of people will remember forever.
Proud of him?
Yes.
So proud of him.
Matthew Poole has been the manager of Pisgah High's varsity team for 4 years.
He helps us with water, he helps us on the bench, he makes sure people remember their shoes and their uniforms, and he keeps us upbeat. That's his job.
In an ideal world, Matthew probably would have been a player, but it appears instead that he's meant for something different.
We knew when the doctors told us that he'd never walk or talk, we knew that there was something going to be special out of it.
Matthew has cerebral palsy. His muscles hurt nearly constantly, but you can't tell.
We think sometimes we have bad days, and then we look at him and everything that he's been through, and no matter what he's doing, he's smiling about it.
Basketball is hard and often painful for him. Doctors never even thought it'd be possible. So Matthew starting for Pisgah in the senior night game on Tuesday was nothing short of a miracle.
I couldn't eat because I was so excited.
His classmates erupted when he came out of the student section, but the gym was about to get even louder. He started in the first play of the game, got the ball on the three-point line, and drained it. The team, the crowd, his classmates went wild. And for Matthew, what was the best part of that night? It wasn't the 3 points.
My teammates.
It was the people.
When I shot that 3-pointer, my teammates, they started hugging me and everything. And my coach did too.
Britton Whiteside and her 9-month-old daughter Rylan are among the lucky ones.
When you can't find a place to stay, there's also that risk of possibly losing your child if you end up on the streets.
She's been taken in by Asheville Buncombe Community Christian Ministries Steadfast House, a year-long transitional program where beds are in high demand.
So we now hold up to 50, but 50 doesn't cut it when you have over 300 women and children on your waiting list.
Steadfast House is now working on a plan to expand. Across town at Western Carolina Rescue Ministries, they too are expanding, doubling the size of their women and children shelter.
Our homeless numbers, for the first time in 7 years, went up at our last count by 10%.
Asheville Community Development Manager Heather Dillashaw says while the numbers are up, they're not seeing more women and children on the street. But shelter operators say the count doesn't reflect the growing crisis, with more women lining up at their doors.
So there is a need in Asheville that is, it's not going away.
Many move from place to place, what they call couch surfing, as they struggle to find shelter for them and their children.
Right now, the struggle I'm facing is finding, affordable daycare and finding someone to babysit her while I work.
Experts say a lack of good-paying jobs and unaffordable housing are partly to blame.
It's an affordable housing issue, and the shelters are feeling the brunt of that.
But there are other reasons as well.
Over 50% of our women have come from some form of domestic violence.
A growing crisis stressing crowded shelters and the women and children trying to escape them.
I'm determined to get back on my feet for her sake.